The counterattack of Jasper space. Chapter 1, Rebirth. Boom! There was a thunderclap, followed by a tremor between heaven and earth. Lu Yingxiu's eyes were dim, and a smell of blood oozed from her throat. It was her last memory before she died. Betrayal, pain, helplessness. When she opened her eyes, she found herself lying on an old bamboo bed with the woody scent of the sheets. She sat up abruptly, stunned at her surroundings, which was her childhood home, familiar and strange. This. What's going on? She couldn't believe her eyes, her fingers touching her intact skin, and her heart was shocked. She's reborn. Go back to a month before the catastrophe struck. The catastrophe in her memory: earthquakes, insect plagues, floods, plagues, wildfires, extreme heat, extreme cold. Those terrible natural disasters not only destroyed her home, but also left her struggling on the brink of life and death. In the end, it was her sister-in-law's design that pushed her into a desperate situation, and her ruthless family squeezed her dry and used her, and abandoned her in the wilderness. But now, she's back, and before it happened, she's reborn. This time, I'm going to live better. Lu Yingxiu secretly swore in her heart. Chapter 2, The Awakening of the Jasper Space. After being reborn, Lu Yingxiu was not in a hurry to get along with her family. She knew that in this life, she had to be completely different from the past. What she needs is enough time to prepare for the impending disaster. She closed her eyes and said a few words silently in her heart, and her heart throbbed. Then, the air in front of him distorted slightly, and a bright point of light appeared. This point of light exudes a soft light like jasper, and the surrounding space seems to be led by this point of light. Lu Yingxiu looked at the point of light, and silently thought in her heart, Jasper space, open. At that moment, all the doors of the space seemed to open in an instant, and countless supplies, tools, seeds, herbs, food, etc. appeared in front of her in a steady stream. It's a space full of magical powers, able to stand still in time, and able to upgrade and store everything you need. This time, I'm going to be stronger than the last time. She muttered to herself. Chapter 3, Struggle at Home. Lu Yingxiu stood in her small courtyard, watching the actions of her family. In this life, she is no longer the weak woman who is at the mercy of others and suffers humiliation, but has Jasper space and countless resources. Her sister-in-law, Lu Psyche, is discussing with her parents how to let her marry into the home mansion smoothly. Every time she thought about it, she smiled. In the last life, it was this sister-in-law who colluded with the rest of the family to make her a pawn of the family, constantly being exploited for value, and finally even abandoned her in the wilderness when disaster came. This time, she wouldn't let that happen again. Father, mother, marrying Psyche into the home mansion is our family's only chance. The eldest lady of the Lu family said with a smile on her face. The position of the crown princess of the home mansion has finally given Psyche a chance. Well, the future of our Lu family depends on this family business. The old man of the Lu family also smiled and agreed. Lu Yingxiu listened quietly beside her, secretly calculating in her heart. These plans, to her, are all a joke. She knew that behind all this was the result of her ruthless sister-in-law conspiring with her family. But in this life, she is no longer the woman at her mercy. She will make the most of the Jasper space to pave a different path for herself and those around her. Chapter 4, The Coming of the Disaster. As time passed, the shadow of the catastrophe drew closer. Lu Yingxiu knew in her heart that natural disasters would come sooner or later. She's already getting ready for it. She checked the materials in the Jasper space one by one, stockpiled food, herbs, medical supplies, clothes, tools, etc. in advance, and built a mansion isolated from the outside world in the space, where everything was kept in the best state in a state of time standing still, and could be called at any time. This time, I'm going to leave everyone stunned. She smiled. Natural disasters came as scheduled. The first was a sudden crack, and the whole earth seemed to be torn apart, and countless houses, fields, and villages were destroyed. Insect plagues, wildfires, and floods followed. All this, as she had predicted, swept the land mercilessly. However, this time, Lu Yingxiu is no longer a helpless victim. She took the materials in the Jasper space, and together with her teammates in her previous life, she started a new life of escaping, building infrastructure, and farming. She and her teammates set out from a shelter in the mountains, escaping the wilderness and establishing bases in various places. Using the seeds in the Jasper space, she began to grow food, herbs, and build one sturdy shelter after another. Whenever a disaster strikes, Liu Yingxiu can always prepare quickly and take everyone through it safely. In this natural disaster, she lived a chic and fearless life. Chapter 5: The Transformation of the Family. With the spread of natural disasters, Liu Yingxiu's family also began to suffer heavy losses. The marriage that the Liu family originally relied on the home mansion has become meaningless. The election of the crown princess of the home mansion was drowned in a merciless disaster, and the Liu family fell into chaos. Liu Psyche and her parents began to seek rescue, but no matter how they jumped up and down, they could not get help. On the contrary, Liu Yingxiu's base became a refuge after the disaster, receiving countless refugees and gradually expanding into a powerful stronghold. When Liu Yingxiu returned to the family again, she was already different. She is no longer the weak woman at the mercy of others, but a leader with great resources and abilities. She and her family's reconstruction began to have a different plan. Father, mother, and Psyche, would you like to join my plan? She looked at her parents and sister-in-law standing in front of her, her tone calm, but with a hint of threat that could not be refused. Chapter 6: The Ending. As the natural disaster gradually passed, Liu Yingxiu, with her teammates and family, re-established a new world. Her Jasper space is not only a storage of materials, but also a source of her strength. She is no longer the woman who was tricked by her family and fate in the past, but a strong person who controls her own destiny. And those family members who once looked down on her and betrayed her could only succumb to her wisdom and strength in the end. Not only did she save herself, but she also changed the fate of the entire family. In the reconstruction after this natural disaster, Liu Yingxiu became a real leader, and her name was praised by the world and became a legend. Chapter 7: The Hope of a New Life. With the passage of time, most of the natural disasters have passed. However, for Liu Yingxiu, the real test of this disaster has just begun. She understands that supplies are only immediate needs, and the real challenge is how to rebuild the world after the disaster, and how to make this land bloom with the glory of life again. Together with her teammates, she built a rebuilt base with self-sufficiency at its core. This base is not only a shelter, but also a symbol of new life. The base is full of greenery and abundant grains, and all residents have found hope in a stable life. The various resources in the Jasper space make this base far more than other places, and it has become one of the most stable places after the disaster. Yingxiu, is this kind of life really what we once fantasized about? One of his former teammates, Song Ruokan, asked softly. She is an equally intelligent and brave woman whom Yingxiu has met since her rebirth, and the two have fled together and experienced countless difficult times. Now, she has become Yingxiu's right-hand man. Liu Yingxiu raised her head and looked at the land full of life in front of her, her eyes flashed with satisfaction. This is not just our fantasy, this is the result of our efforts. Her tone was firm, with a force that could not be ignored. This land, these people, we will be their hope and make all these efforts eternal. Song Ruokan nodded lightly, she understood what Yingxiu meant. Thanks to their efforts, the base has not only managed to avoid the impact of the disaster, but has also become the most powerful place in the post-disaster reconstruction. The people here, from the initial panic and confusion to the current stability and prosperity, everyone has found their place under the leadership of Liu Yingxiu. However, with the development of the base, Liu Yingxiu also knew that this reconstruction was not limited to this piece of land. Her goal is to bring more places back to life and spread that hope and strength to the entire land. Chapter 8: The Search for Lost Ruins. One day, Yingxiu receives a strange message. An explorer from afar has brought back clues about the ancient ruins. These ruins are believed to be remnants of ancient civilizations and may contain forces that can change the fate of this world. Her heart moved, and this may be the key to her rebuilding the world. Ruokan, this expedition, I want you to go with me. Liu Yingxiu's tone was calm, but her eyes were full of determination. Song Ruokan did not hesitate, and immediately nodded, I'll follow you. The two of them took a small team of elites and began a journey to find the ruins. They have traversed barren lands, crossed treacherous mountain ranges, and endured countless difficult challenges. Along the way, they found traces of ancient civilizations that showed that the land was once a prosperous world, but now it is only ruined ruins and ruins. They were careful along the way, not daring to take it lightly, until one day, they finally found an ancient temple covered in boulders in a hidden valley. The entrance to the temple is blocked by obstacles, and even has ancient runes and traps, as if it were specially set up to protect some unknown secret. This is the remnant of that legend. Song Ruokan said in a low voice, "We have to be careful." Liu Yingxiu nodded, took a deep breath, and looked firm. "We can't give up no matter what, everything we need is hidden here." She leads the team and skillfully unlocks the ancient mechanism, eventually reaching the heart of the temple. There is an ancient stone statue with a strange crystal in the center of the stone statue, which exudes a strange light. Liu Yingxiu stepped forward and carefully touched the crystal. Suddenly, a powerful wave of energy surged from the crystal, as if sucking her whole body in. Her eyes were bright, and she felt like she was endowed with some kind of immensely powerful power. "This? What is it?" she whispered in surprise. A soft voice came from the crystal, "You have chosen the right path, Yingxiu. This is the legacy of an ancient civilization that can help you rebuild the land and give you great power, but it also comes with heavy responsibilities." Liu Yingxiu clenched the crystal, and felt an unprecedented flow of power in her heart. This force is not only a physical force to fight against disasters, but also a spiritual force that can lead the world to light. "I see," she replied softly. The crystal's glow then converges, sending her and her teammates back into the real world. This time, Liu Yingxiu not only gained great strength, but also understood her true mission, not only to rebuild the world, but also to lead the people of this land to a more prosperous and peaceful future. Chapter 9, The Dawn of a New Era. After returning to the base, Liu Yingxiu immediately began to use the power gained from the ruins to carry out reforms. She used the ancient knowledge contained in the crystal to improve agricultural technology and improve the base's defenses, while sharing it with refugees elsewhere. With the spread of these technologies, the post-disaster world is gradually on the right track, with people's living standards improving and the pace of reconstruction accelerating. However, behind all this success, it is not without its challenges. Although Liu Yingxiu brought the experience of her previous life and the resources of the Jasper space, she also found that this world would not let her go easily. Challenges from all sides continue, and the family that once betrayed her has now become her rivals, and even began to work in secret. However, all this has become a motivation for her. She knows that this reconstruction will not happen overnight, and she will not back down in the face of difficulties. She knows that her responsibility is not just to lead a base, but to lead the whole world to a new prosperity. The future is ours. Liu Yingxiu stood on the high platform of the base, staring at the distant sky, her eyes shining with determination. This is the dawn of a new era, and she will be the leader of this new world.